Hey everyone, so this is my review of Charmed, Season 1, Episode 2, called Let the Mother Out. And essentially what this episode is about is that after receiving a message from the spirit board from who they believe is their mother, and this message tells them to not trust Harry, the three sisters struggle to figure out what they should do next and finally decide to sort of conduct a plan to figure out what the truth is. And this was such a good episode that did do a very good job of sort of furthering the sisters' bond and sort of finally getting the sisters to work together and to work as a group of three and discover that even if a majority rules, they really can't work together unless everyone agrees. And I really did love everything around the Harry plot and them trying to figure out whether or not Harry is working with them or against them. So they decide to create a truth serum and attempt to give it to him to figure out where he sort of lies. And that was so interesting to see how all that plays out. And I especially love the sort of jokey bits in this episode where they decide to refer to Harry as Meghan Markle because they're afraid that whenever they say his name, he's going to appear. And that was just fun to see, like, all of that and how they played out all that to see where he sort of lies and stuff. And then everything with Mel and her sort of struggling to want to speak to her mother using the spirit board and stuff, but her sisters sort of are against it. So that was interesting to see how all that plays out, the eventual sort of revival of this sort of spirit version of their mother and them sort of again struggling with whether or not they should trust this spirit version of their mother or trust Harry. And then the bringing up of the prism, that is this sort of device that can actually steal the three witches' powers, was interesting with that, but I feel like it's going to be a major plot hole now because of the fact that this is such a powerful device. Why aren't all the demons and stuff choosing to try and go after this prism and then go after the sisters instead of just trying to take down the sisters? Because then they could get the power of three power themselves and stuff like that. But it is going to definitely be a device that's going to come back to bite them in the future now that they have it sort of more out in the open than it was before. Then everything with Maggie was probably some of the best parts of this episode, with her trying to navigate her telepathy powers and stuff and just learning how to deal with them and deal with the fact that now she can essentially read everyone's mind. And she comes to discover how terrible of a power that is because there's a lot of stuff you don't really want to hear that people think. And then everything with the truth serum was fun, with the truth serum actually going to Mel's girlfriend and Mel discovering a lot of truths that she doesn't really want to hear. Then Macy was really great in this episode with her trying to figure out how to navigate her life between work and her science work and stuff, but then also dealing with all her magical powers now, and just watching that sort of balance work out there was interesting. And then I also love that she sort of had to be the one to almost interrogate Harry to figure out where he lies in the truth and stuff like that. With the introduction of the Harvester demon sort of thing was interesting, with it being sort of like this lurking main villain, I believe, for the rest of the season probably, and how this Harvester is sort of like the third sign to the coming of the end and stuff, and I'm very interested to see how all that plays out, especially for the three sisters. Then I really did enjoy that they continue to keep up with having like this version of like the magical old way of how to handle demons and stuff, but then the sisters using a more modern version of that, where to defeat the demon of this episode they needed to show the demon its reflection, but when the demon showed up it destroyed all the mirrors in like the house and stuff. So the fact that Maggie used her phone Amir was a really fun sort of way to get around that, in my opinion. And then, like I said earlier on, I really did love how they used Maggie in this episode to be like sort of like the one opposed to a lot of the different stuff, because of the fact that her telepathic powers somewhat have helped her to realize that this demon wasn't actually their mother, because of the fact that her telepathic powers and stuff were sort of giving her weird feelings about this supposed spirit of their mother. And then just overall, this was a really great episode that was very well done, and I'm very interested to see where they're gonna go from here with the Harvester now having its own body and stuff, so it can sort of attack the sisters more directly. So yeah, that was my review of Charmed Season 1, Episode 2, called Let This Mother Out. So yeah,